In sport this hour, Zimbabwe cricket secured 2 valuable points in their Group A ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier against the West Indies yesterday. The tournament hosts walked away with a 35-run victory to make their way to the Super 6 stage of the qualifiers in front of the crowd at the Harare Sports Club. We're now joined by Zimbabwe cricket coach David Houghton. David, appreciate your time this evening. How would you describe the journey so far in these World Cup qualifiers?
I reckon the word brutal comes to mind, Hugo. This is a really tough tournament with very quick turnaround between games. None of our games have been easy, so we've gone to the wire on each occasion, chased down 2 big scores, and then had a very exciting defence of a score against the West Indies the other day. But it's taking its toll. The boys are tired. We've got another game, and we're up and at it at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning again.
Dave, I suppose what's been absolutely remarkable is that 3 victories on the trot under a huge amount of pressure. What would you say has been the change since you took over as a coach of the Chevrons?
Look, I think it's just a general belief in themselves. I think cricket in Zimbabwe in particular has always been coached in an almost dictatorial way. From the time we're at school and at clubs, you're told how to play and what to do all the time and so on, and you don't really get to think a lot for yourself. And I think I've brought in a little bit more of guys, believing in their own ability, making their own decisions, being calm when they make those decisions, and backing their own abilities. And we're seeing that, play out in the games that we've won quite comfortably. We don't look like we have struggled in the 2 scores that were quite big that we chased down. We look very calm throughout those chases. And I have to say, even against the West Indies in front of a huge crowd, they held their nerves perfectly. And there wasn't a stage there where I thought we might not do this. I thought we were in control all the way.
Now, we must talk about the 12th man, and obviously 10,000 fans in the stadium and a lot more fans in the overflow next door. Just how important was the 12th man in your victory yesterday?
I think it's hugely important. I mean, this is the real advantage of playing at home. Our crowds are magnificent at the moment, and it's an amazing aura that they create. 10,000, you would think, when you think of football crowds and rugby crowds, isn't a huge crowd. But I tell you, this 10,000 makes enough noise to be 100,000. It's they create an amazing aura around the ground, and they are huge supporters of ours. So I think it's intimidating for the opposition, and it's hugely supportive for us.
So you've made it to the Super 6. You've got an important game tomorrow against the USA, and then you travel to Bulawayo for the remaining fixtures. Let's talk about your game plan for the remaining games.
Hugo, it hasn't changed. I mean, from the time we started preparing ourselves for these World Cup qualifiers, all I've talked about is winning every game. I think if you start setting your goals early and say, well, at first, our goal is to get to the Super Sixes, you find things fade away. So we're going to be no different playing USA and no different playing Oman and Sri Lanka and Scotland afterwards. Our objective at the moment is to win every game. We'll see where that takes us.
Now, one of the things that's always been an issue with the Chevrons in the past has been the chemistry amongst the players. Certainly when you take a look at the younger players just coming in, and obviously the players that are a little bit more mature. But you seem to have quite a good blend at the moment.
We have got a good blend. We've got some real good experienced players within the side, and the good thing about them is they're all stepping up when required. And we've got some really talented youngsters coming through. And besides for the fact you'd want them to do well with bat and ball, they add a real dynamic in the field. So we've got some nice pace, good arms, some good catches in the field too. So we're getting back to the days when Zimbabwe had a really gun fielding team. And I think if you're going to be a good one-day side at any level, you've got to have a good fielding side, and we've got that now.
Final question, Dave. The pressure's obviously on now, potentially a lot more before you played your first game, but certainly before you won at 3 on the trot. How important is it for the Zimbabwe team to make it through all the way to the World Cup?
I think it's hugely important, but I'm trying not to stress the World Cup qualification as the main objective. For us, it's about winning and winning consistently. And, for the last 12 months, we're winning more than we lose. We're sort of up in the 65-70% bracket of what we win. And then when we're at home, it's probably even a little higher. So I want us to keep on that winning roll. I've said to the guys a number of times, one of the hardest things to do when you're coaching or managing a team is teach people to win. So when you get onto that winning role, it's important to continue it. And that's exactly how I see the rest of this tournament, starting with the game against USA tomorrow. It's important we carry on winning.
Dave, appreciate your time this evening and certainly look forward to another conversation when you make it through to the World Cups.
Thanks, Hugo.